What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter, featuring, as usual, Jive, Turkey, Nano. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little bit of breaking news here. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We have Drew, a.k.a. This is Drew, a.k.a. Mystic Drew himself in the building. Drew.
What's up? What's up?
Good boy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, my guy. And, of course, Eric, already here, ready to go, ready to rock and roll.
Let's go.
Again, thanks for joining us, Drew. We have a lot to discuss when it comes to UFC 285. My God. I mean, honestly, first things first, I feel like we have to go ahead and get the Kinda Okay Parlay out of the way. We did do pretty well. I mean, again, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the perfect parlay. It's not the best parlay in the whole darn world, but it is the Kinda Okay Parlay.
MMAnomaly presents the Kinda Okay Parlay.
Again, guys, the Kinda Okay Parlay, it was actually pretty damn good this week. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, this is what we were looking at, guys. This is what we were looking at. We had Cody Garbrandt money line. He got it
really
done.
Jumped out the gate there. We jumped out the gate. We looked good. Cody looked solid, right? I mean, it went to decision, so it wasn't definitive. We had to wait the full 15 minutes, but we had some love from Cody No Love, baby. That was a great start. Oh, the ending there kills me, but why don't you go and tell us what you were seeing there on that second one there, Olin? That was probably, like you said, the safest lock of the night.
I told you. I had a feeling. It was the safest lock of the night, guys. Again, I did say it in the pre-fight video. John Jones has only had 2 finishes in the last decade, whereas Cyril Gane has had 8 finishes in the last 4 years or less. That being said, Jones's fastest finishes always come from those that he feels somewhat threatened by. He made very quick work of Cyril Gane, and again, I was absolutely extremely impressed by what he did out there. I knew no matter who won, that's why I couldn't put my money on Gane for this. I couldn't put the Gane Kinda Okay Parlay here. I had to do under 4.5 because I knew there was no chance in hell either one of those guys was making it out of that fight conscious or with all their limbs intact for that matter. And then, I mean, again, looking at your pick, the under 1.5 for Geoff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, 16 fights, 16 finishes coming in. And, I mean, he did get the finish in the end, guys. And we'll go over that in greater detail later, but I'll let you defend yourself on this one.
Thank you, brother. Yes, cue in the sad violin symphony here. You know, let's play the little smallest violin for me. No one has sympathy out here, right? You either win or you lose. I'm going to come out and say I lost. That's on me, y'all. My bad. I knew it was going to be a finish in your defense, right? Like you just said there. I knew it was going to be a finish. I thought it was going to be a little bit quicker. Fortunately, didn't get it when we needed to. And best believe we were watching to the second. But let's say, I mean, don't get it twisted. That was probably fight of the night. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about this fight some more. But got to take the cap off and say, you know what? I'm going out of my shield. My bad, y'all. That's on me. That's on me. It's not you. It's me.
We love it when someone takes blame. It was me last time. It's you this time. But you know what? It's going to be all 3 of us when we rise, baby. And, dude, quick shout out. Just a very quick shout out to the Vegas Picks Parlay, guys. We went 13 out of 14. And if you would have told me that Shevchenko was the one that was going to blow it, I wouldn't have believed you.
I thought we were taking that to the bank. I felt okay after my loss. I'm like, oh, we still got a chance here. And then that went out the door too.
We went 13 out of 14 on that one. So needless to say, the Vegas Picks Parlay, I think, might be a themed just mainstay with,
Why
with the
not?
Kinda Okay Parlay picks, guys. Exactly. You know, why the heck not? So with that being said, I feel like we've got a really, really nice show here. Let's see here. Wasn't Grasso the only dog on the card to win? Yes, she was.
Right, you are, Lee.
So Lee, the Vegas picks parlay is me picking every single Vegas pick, every single Vegas favorite, and just throwing them on a parlay and seeing what the hell happens. With that being said, we got Drew here. We got Jive Turkey Nano here, and we have a hell of a show for you guys. What we're going to do is we're basically going to go through a little segment I like to call Looking Ahead, where we talk about what we think is next for the biggest winners on this card. Again, I think we've got some really solid picks here, and very, very, very intrigued to see who you guys actually pick, because we didn't discuss this at all before. We just kind of made our picks. So
Let's go.
let's
Winging it, baby.
go ahead and jump
on
into
the
it.
flat.
So, jumping right off the bat, we are going to start off at the very bottom of the card here. We had Tabitha Ricci. To say that she got it done in impressive fashion, I don't think would be much of a Ricci at all. So she went out there and she got the submission in round 2 minutes 14 seconds in. And Drew, I know you didn't get to tune in during this fight. I'm not sure you picked the fight next for her. Emiliano, you want to take the lead on this one?
Thank you for having me in there, brother. Yes, like you said, Tabitha Ricci, T-Piz's crush of the week, I think. He was really excited about this match. I don't know why. But on a side note, yes, this was a great bout. And like we talked about, you know, Penny Pasta, great competitor. She's game as hell. But we're looking at a Tabitha Ricci that is just ascending. I think we all know why. I mean, hey, hint, hint, wink, wink, you know, nudge, nudge. Again, Tabitha looked really sharp. She looked really, really strong. She looked good going into it. That was something we talked about. But she dominated on the ground. She dominated on the feet. Coming away with the finish there. You love to see it. In terms of what's next for Tabitha, this is where it gets fun, right? I mean, especially after what we saw in that co-main event. Nothing's set in stone, right? And all these divisions, you never know, right? You want to see who's coming up next on the field, who's the next prodigy, somebody that's going to step up and earn, you know, that next contender spot. And Tabitha's certainly someone that I feel is earning that right. She's earning the right to be there, to be on the main card, to be somebody that's fighting for, if not the next title fight, maybe somebody maybe setting up to be that, right? It's tough, man. I'm going between a couple different people, and I'd love to hear from you real quick before we go into predictions, what you thought of the fight, if it was what you thought you would see, or if maybe there was any surprises on your end, and then we'll go into the picks.
So thanks for the hot tag there. I did see it going pretty much how it went. I do think that her opponent, Jessica Penne Pasta, like Pasta, right? Sometimes she's very tough. Hadn't soaked in the water long enough. And other times, you know, she's slick. And other times, not so much at all. Other times, she's just limp and chewy, and she lays on the ground and lets you kick her in the legs. And that's what we saw on this Saturday's event. Tabitha Ricci went out there. She got it done on the feet. She got it done on the ground. Every single place that fight went, Tabitha Ricci was in control. She made it look easy, honestly. And I'm very excited to see what's next for her. I think the easy pick on who she should face next, in my opinion, is the woman that was cornering her opponent, Jessica Penne Pasta, her corner woman, Miss Angela Overkill Hill. But unfortunately, Angela Hill, like most of the women in that division, is matched up with one Mackenzie Dern, who's bouncing back from a loss herself. So what I have down on my little handy dandy piece of paper here is Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci should fight the loser of Angela Hill versus Mackenzie Dern, or she should fight the loser of Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie herself, versus Luana Pinheiro. Again, Michelle the Karate Hottie Watterson has been on quite the skid herself. So you have two women that are on the way down somewhat versus Tabitha Ricci, who's on the way up. I think any and all of those matchups, Angela Hill, Mackenzie Dern, Michelle Watterson, Luana Pinheiro has really good bread and soups and grilled cheeses. Pinheiro is a pretty darn good fighter in the division. I think all of those women would be great matchups for one Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci. But again, what do you think? Who do you think's next?
I love that. I love that analysis, and I appreciate it, brother. You know, there's no Ricci's here with Tabitha Ricci. And hey, speaking of Ricci's, I don't know if this is one, but it's another favorite of ours that we did talk about in the same division. She came off a good win, beating a very tough girl. I don't know if you're leading where I'm going. A little Amanda Ribas. We're talking a top contender here. Be a big jump for Tabitha in terms of talent, in terms of just taking that next step in her career. But Amanda, that'd be a fun one. A couple of Brazilians going back at it. I don't know if they have any cards coming up in Brazil or not, but that might be a fun one there too. I think that might be my favorite. Unless you think Amanda's on the rise and maybe she wouldn't take a non-ranked or a lower ranked opponent. But she's there. They both just fought. They both take the same amount of time off.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I typed that name and then I deleted it, and then I typed it again and then I deleted it. Because I felt like having 5 names was too many, and I like the 4. I really like Angela. Like, I feel like if Angela Hill loses that fight to Mackenzie Dern, that is a money fight. Like, if you set up the next fight for Tabitha Ricci to be the chick that cornered the last chick she beat, like, that's just fun. That's a fun story.
It's a good narrative. Sell the story.
The thing that I think UFC does the best is they make great narratives. They make great stories. Even if the fight isn't the best fight in the world, the narrative is always going to get your eye. Drew, do you have anything to add to that one? Any names to add to the list?
For that particular fight, nope.
No worries. Moving on.
We'll see what's next.
I think this is the first fight that Drew actually got to tune in for. So we had Cameron Simon coming in against Mana Martinez. Mana Martinez came in at a little bit over the bantamweight limit. He was 137 pounds. Very unlike him. He was going in against a very game Cameron Simon from South Africa. South Africa, stand up. Your boy got it done.
Undefeated.
That fight was absolutely incredible.
That was fun.
He came into it undefeated. He got out of it undefeated. Drew, I know
couple nut shots in there. I think that's the one thing to take away there. I felt bad, and it's tough. Like, you can't get enough time, right? They never take the full 5, and I was sitting there watching it with my fiance Amy. I'm like, he's not going to take the time, but Lord knows you need the time. Like, hey, go out on your shield. There's nothing more manly than taking a little extra time to make sure that, the little men downstairs are in good shape. But there were a couple of them, and at first you think, oh no, that maybe he's being dramatic. But then you watch the replay and you're like, oh no, that was a clean shot right on the little man downstairs there. You hate to see it, but I feel like that was kind of my narrative. That was some of the notes I wrote just from the fight was nut shots. Am I right? Brutal. You hate to see it.
You hate to see nut shots.
Kind of on piggybacking off those nut shots. I mean, not only did he get nut shotted once, but twice in the same round, which that's tough. You got to take more than a couple of minutes for that. I mean, this was a tough fight for Martinez. He got eye poked in the 3rd round too, so tough weekend for Martinez. Tough, very tough.
Did they take the poke off of or did they take a point real quick before you go in there, Olin? Did they take the point off of the eye poke, or was it that second shot downstairs? They took a point off Simon.
I think it was the eye poke, right?
That was in the 3rd.
I can confirm on that. Actually, it was the second nut shot. That was for the point.
It was the second nut shot.
Fool me once.
That was my question. I have a question for both of you. There is, should they take another point for that eye poke? Yeah.
Oh, man, even if they take another point for that eye poke, it was 63 landed strikes for Mana Martinez to 146 on the side of Cameron Simon. 60 of those strikes on the side of Mana Martinez being significant strikes and 117 being significant strikes for Cameron Simon. I think if you take a point every round, he probably still wins the fight. I mean, the most unfortunate thing about him is I agree with the commentary. He seems like the nicest gentleman you'd probably ever meet. and it's unfortunate that in every single one of his UFC fights thus far, though he's only had like 2, but in both of them so far, he has had fouls. He's had those nut shots. He's had those, and they're involuntarily. They don't seem like he's doing them on purpose, right? But it's still happening. So just like the referee says, when those things happen, he needs to learn to control his weapons. And I think once he does learn to control his weapons, he's going to be a force, just honestly. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one as far as what's next. I think there's 2 really, really solid names that are just outside the top 15, and I think that if he beats them, he breaks into the top 15 and sets himself up for a solid top 15 name, maybe like between 12 and 15. Those 2 names are Kyler Matrix Phillips or Raoni Barcelos, who is coming off of a little skid himself. Kyler's on the way up. I think he's number 16 or 17 ranked on Tapology in the division. And Raoni Barcelos is ranked right around that same threshold. Interested to see what you boys think of those 2. And also in the chat, if you have anybody that you think is a good matchup for these guys, please throw it in the chat. We'd love to see it and chat about it too. Who wants to take the lead on this one?
I mean,
What were the 2 names you said again?
Oh.
Just wanted to repeat the 2 names. Oh, go ahead. Go, Drew. You got this, brother.
Drew jumped in first. I will repeat the names. I said Kyler Matrix Phillips or Raoni Barcelos.
Ooh. I actually like both of those fights. Honestly, I'm just really excited to see Simon fight again. And like you mentioned, he's got to clean up a couple things. Like from what I've seen, he's a wild striker and he goes for it. And it's exciting. Fans love it. I loved it. I mean, I remember the first fight he had. He needed the guy in the head. I mean, that's another point deduction. Clean up some things, but exciting future for him. I can't wait to see whoever he faces.
I like it. Yeah, again, saw a lot of promising things from him. Very talented, very explosive, and very apologetic. And then I did feel bad, or like first thing he leads with in the post-fight conference is, "Hey, I'm not a dirty fighter. Didn't mean to." I think he dropped an F-bomb in there. You can tell he's very sincere. Did not mean to do that. But you do mention 2 good names there, Olin. Again, I think anybody that is coming off a couple good wins, anybody, like you said, maybe not ranked yet because, like you said, Drew, let's get some things cleaned up before we see him really crack into the top 15. But there's a few names there. I mean, hey, maybe someone like a Cody Stamen, maybe. That's a fun name, big name, someone that's coming off a couple wins, not necessarily top ranked, but can still get some draw. That's a name that's coming top of mind for me. I don't know about Adrian Yanez. I don't know if he's still available or not, but the better O'Malley. Ooh, I'm a big O'Malley fan. He did look sharp. Again, very fun, very explosive. Not as long, different fighter than O'Malley, at least just, giving credit where it's due. But again, a talented, undefeated fighter. Love seeing that. Hype them up, get them on the main card, get them in front of more eyeballs. Let's see him get someone that's a household name or someone that's maybe coming off a good win. Both of which can maybe crack that top 15 or can be on the up and up moving forward.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with Lee H, though I do think that Sean O'Malley is one of those guys that a lot of people really underrate, and he's a lot better than people give him credit for. Yes, he has hair like a poodle. Yes, he constantly looks like he's doing a bit. And maybe he is. Maybe he's trolling us all the time. Either way, gets him likes, gets him clicks, gets him a lot of money, gets him a lot of fans too. He's really good. And speaking of really good, we're going to talk about someone that I'm still not convinced is the best. We got Ian Machado Gary, who went in there and did his thing against one Song Kenan Song. I always feel like I'm doing the names backwards with some of these fighters from other countries. I know like they change it. Anyways, Song Kenan, Ian Gary. It was a TKO late in round 3. It was a pretty back and forth fight in my opinion. The boy was getting chinned up a little bit. He was definitely getting chinned up.
Oh, he was singing some chin music for sure. He was a little wobbly there. Was it the end of the first, I think, right?
Yes,
and then you hear him in the corner, right? Yep. And then, oh, my bad. Yep, I was a little aggressive. I'm sorry. It's like, yeah, well, he was vigilant, so that was a good sign, too. I think Daniel or one of them commented, like, hey, he's still there. He was saying, yeah, I think I got a little too aggressive. My bad. But he ate some chin music.
Yeah, he made him pay for it, Song Kenan. And I think if he does that in the top 20 of that division, he's gonna get hurt really bad. Before I jump into my picks, Drew, what'd you think of that fight?
That was, well, like you said, he did get chin music. That was a nice left hook that dropped him. But after that, I feel like he dominated the rest of that fight. I mean, that jab, you saw Song's face at the end of that fight. It wasn't power shots mostly. It was mostly just jabs, touching him up here and there, and you just saw that just accumulate throughout the second and third round. And that was a good comeback win for him after getting dropped in the first round for sure.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any like names at the top of their list for him to go against next? I have two top of mind that I think are going to make you guys both want to kick me from the video feed.
Let's hear it.
So, the funny thing is these guys, both names, they just fought each other. So we got Jack Della Maddalena or Randy Rude Boy Brown. I think either one of those guys are going to be a very fun fight for Ian Machado Gary, and they're going to be able to kind of tell us whether or not he belongs in the upper echelon of that weight class. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
I like them both. Honestly, that's fun. I think Mandela's a fun one. That's two, and I don't know if they would want to like collide two of their better up and coming stars or talents, right? Are they kind of thinking, should we put them on this collision course now, or should we let them both kind of keep stacking some wins, right?
IMG versus JDM. Do we like it? Ian Machado Gary, Jack Della Maddalena.
I mean, I'll buy it. I'd pay to see that fight, 100%. I mean, it's not good for Gary though.
That's mean for everyone involved. I mean, like I said, both up and comers. That's tough. I'd rather have him fight. Yeah, I don't want him to fight Randy Brown though. I don't know about that one. I'm kind of scared for Ian Gary if he fights Randy Brown.
I mean, you're more scared if he fights Randy Brown than if he would fight Jack Della Maddalena.
I like the Jack matchup just a little bit better.
Stylistically, I think it's the better one. I have that one first on my list. So, okay, are we all in agreement? Jack Della Maddalena, Ian Machado Gary?
I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, locked in, baby.
Get two good prospects. Gary's undefeated. That's a main card fight. I mean, wherever they want to go. I mean, they're both not from the States, so I guess I don't know if there's any Irish card, no Ireland cards, no more Australian cards. So, hey, place them somewhere. They both fought within the last month or so. So get them in the summer, International Fight Week. Hey, who knows?
Ooh, give it to us on International Fight Week. You'd already know. Me and Drew here are actually going to be there. We're going to be there at the UFC fan experience. It's going to be the first time going. We are psyched. And speaking of psyched, man, I am psyched on this next chick we're going to talk about here. She is an absolute beast to the I would say the division, but I should say the divisions, because this woman is typically not at flyweight, right? She's typically at strawweight. And she went up to flyweight this weekend and fought a very game opponent in Viviana Araujo, who just typically goes out there and just does the damn thing, right? But what happened this time? That was just simply not the case. Vivian Araujo is a beast, but Amanda Ribas seemed slightly a step ahead of her every step of the way in this fight. And up until the very end when she got the decision. I mean, what did you guys think of this fight? Did you see this fight going the way it did? Or did you have Vivian winning that fight going into it?
I mean, we could check the receipts. I'm pretty sure I did have Vivian winning that fight. I just thought she was going to be a little bit stronger. I thought maybe just more time in the ring, right? Maybe a little bit older. Just... Again, looks stronger. I thought was just as talented as Amanda is across the board. So I thought, okay, she's going to give her a good run for her money. But I shouldn't have ruled out the nice girl. Nice girls don't always finish last, okay? Just because she's nice and sweet doesn't mean she can't beat you up, right? And I thought, man, she looked really good from the jump. Got her number, was making sure she was the first one in those exchanges, and didn't look back, right? I mean, there were some moments, but really, she came out and just won that whole fight, right? I think in the fashion that she did it, deserves us talking about her now. And hey, like, what's next? Who's the next step for her? But a title's got to be in talks, right? She's got to be making her way there, because that was huge. The way she did it in that fashion was fun, for sure.
I definitely agree. Drew, thoughts, comments, concerns?
I did not watch this fight. I'm sorry. I was getting in and out at the time. So sorry, ladies. I missed your fight. But, yeah.
Boom.
Thank you for joining us, Drew. It's been real fun. Just kidding.
Sorry, ladies. Sorry.
No, all good. He obviously hates women's MMA. Everybody go comment on his Twitter feed.
Or he just loves In and Out that much. I mean, I guess it can be either one.
You know what I'm saying? There's only time for one. So I have two names. I have since she fights at two weight classes. This one's at 125, and she beat, I believe, number 7 in Vivian Araujo. Sorry. So I think she should fight Caitlin Chukagian next if she stays at 125. I think that'd be a very fun fight for her. Stylistically, it'd be a very big test for her grappling credentials. See how good she matches up against someone that's really longer than her and utilizes that grappling. And then if she does decide to drop back down to 115, I've got her going in against getting a rematch that she lost against Marina Rodriguez. It was a good fight. I think Amanda Ribas is one of those women that has a lot of potential. And I mean, again, like it would be a rematch against both people. It would be a Chukagian rematch, and it would be a rematch against Marina Rodriguez. So she's lost one of those fights at strawweight and one of those fights at 125. I think she's grown significantly since those fights. One of them was 2 years ago. One was just 1 year ago. But again, she has shown leaps and strides of growth in the recent year that we've seen her. And I think she pairs up better against those people these days. What do you guys think? Or would you rather see her against fresh blood?
Well, and I think the division thing's probably where you start number one, right? First and foremost. And that's hard to say. We're not her coaches. We don't see her on the regular. We don't know how good she felt or how she feels going down. But we do know how good she looked here. I mean, man.
She looked good at 125.
She looked good here. Hey, why cut the 10 more pounds when you can be healthy, focus on the skills? I mean, she landed over 200 strikes against, again, a very talented, top-ranked Vivian strawweight fighter. That Chukagian that's like she's, and I want to put this respectfully because gatekeeper isn't the right way, but she is that tier right below the champion in terms of elite level. Like that's, if you can match that or beat that, that's, well, I guess it's kind of a gatekeeper, but that feels disrespectful against Chukagian. She's a legend. With all due respect,
she is kind of a gatekeeper.
We said with all due respect.
We did say with all due respect.
I think I lean that way, though. That'd be fun. What do you think, Drew?
Man, I kind of want to see new blood, especially with all the talent now in the female divisions. I watch female fights. Just don't get me wrong. But
just not during in and out time. But other than that, he's locked in.
There's a time and a place for women's MMA, and it's not during in and out time.
And normally I would say new blood, but I kind of like that that Chukagian rematch. I think that would actually be a really good fight for her. I mean, it's been 2 fights since she's fought her, but I think that would be a really good rematch to see if she can actually take that next step into the top 5.
I agree. So cool. We're all in agreement on 2 of these. It's actually sick. I didn't think we'd agree on any of them, if being completely honest. So speaking of not agreeing, I think, you know what? I was wrong. This is the one that I thought we might actually agree on. So we have the man, the myth, the open mouth breathing legend, Dricus du Plessis, South Africa. Another one getting it done. Mr. DDP himself. He got it done over a very game Derek Brunson. He looked like he was getting wobbled on the feet in the first round, and then he came in the second round breathing with his mouth open. He'll go on the Helwani show, I'm sure, by Wednesday this week or next week and say he wasn't tired, that he just breathes like that because his nose is jacked up, and that's okay. I hope he gets surgery and fixes his nose, and we see if it is the truth. Either way, Derek Brunson's corner throws in the towel for the second time in a row. You hate to see it happen. We're not here to talk about the guys that lost or the women that lost. We're here to talk about the winners and what's next for them, though. So, before I say the two names that I have, any comments on that fight? Is that how you saw that fight going?
Absolutely not. I thought that Brunson was going to continue what he did in round one, which was he dominated him. He took him to the ground. He controlled him. It was a very dominant first round. Then all of a sudden in the second round, he looked tired, and then he got pieced up. And then, as we saw, the corner threw in the towel right at the very end. But I was very surprised that Duplessis pulled that off in the second round.
Yeah, I think I agree, but I don't in the sense that I almost thought the opposite. I felt that Dricus Duplessis, his best way to victory was going to come out hot, like be the aggressor, don't let it go longer, because the longer it goes, the more likely that wrestling and the more likely Derek Brunson's going to start muddying the fight, and then you're going to start falling into his fight. And we've also seen Dricus Duplessis, lose some gas against Darren Till, right? Still power through to win. Obviously, Darren's on his way out, so that's kind of a different situation there. But against a top five, Derek Brunson, a guy who's faced the who's beat some of the top guys, who, again, is another guy that's right in front of a top contender fight for you. Dricus Duplessis, he got caught with that left hand. He weathered the storm. He was very wobbly that first round. I was extremely nervous. I told one of my good friends to go bet a couple of $100 on Dricus Duplessis because I was that confident on him. He called me after that first round and said, we may not be friends anymore. I said, hey, cut me some slack here. Give us some time. The fat lady hasn't sang yet. We come out round two, and Derek Brunson. And again, I'm like, dude, he's 39 years old. That's all I kept saying. That was my only defense. He's 39. I'm like, there's no way he's going to keep losing. I'm like, Dricus is our age. I'm like, he's going to have some gas in the tank. He's going to come back. And he did. But it was almost more so Derek losing than Dricus winning, I felt like. Derek, again, throwing in the towel. Watching some of the tape and hearing some of the things preparing for the card, it was Derek seems to just kind of check out after a while. If it gets too thick, he just physically, I don't know if it's a mental thing, but he looks like he kind of disengages in the fight. And that's exactly what happened there at the end. The stoppage, everything, I think it was right. I guess they threw the towel, so Herb had to stop it. There's maybe a couple seconds left in that round. So I was unclear at first. I'm like, did they stop it? I yelled out they should stop it, and then I'm like, oh, the round's over. Oh, wait, no, is it over? Wait, what just happened? Oh, Dricus won. And then I call my friend. I'm like, yeah, you better freaking remember who I told you to pick on. That's right.
Mary said the same thing. She was literally she walks over, she looks at it, she starts seeing just all the bombs he's taking, and she's like, how long are they going to let this guy just eat damage? Stop the fight. Stop the fight. And then, literally, I don't think the ref even stopped the fight. They threw in the towel. So, some of these refs need to get gut checked, I think. They don't. Some of them do an extremely good job, and then some of them do an extremely poor job lately, and you hate to see it. That being said, just like Lee H in the chat said, entertaining fight from a fan perspective. Couldn't agree more. And speaking of entertaining fights, I've got two names on here for Dricus Duplessis that I think would be extremely entertaining. So
there's only a few left at the top, right? Hey, he beat number 5. There's only a few at the top.
There's only a few left. So I think the names that are kind of circulating around his name as far as ranking trajectory, you got Sean Strickland and you got Paulo Costa. Neither of those guys are matched up. They're both around his ranking area, and I feel like would possibly be game for the matchup. You got a serial killer or a really good-looking buff guy. So two really good-looking buff guys.
I was gonna say that maybe that's the narrative. Just this is the hunky match or something.
We're talking about a different kind of pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies, subscribe.
I should have had some sexy music queued up, but I don't have any. Oh yeah, I said sexy. No, that's saxy. Saxy works.
That's a saxy one.
So yeah, do we think Paulo Costa would be a solid matchup for DDP.
That sounds fun. That sounds like the funner fight. The two big, meaty guys that'll throw hands until one of them just like passes out in the ring. I'd maybe lean that way. Sean's a difficult guy, man. I don't know. And I don't think, I mean, Sean, I think would walk through. Yeah, the secret sauce. There's a secret night sauce or something. I don't know, man. Whatever they're doing, I'm all for it. I think that'd be the fun one. I think I would subscribe to that one. Paulo hasn't fought in a long time. I don't know what's going on there.
Since the Luke Rockhold fight. Since he fought Luke Rockhold.
Uh-oh. Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a while. He's due. I like it. What do you think, Drew?
I want the Costa fight. That's not going to last a round and a half. Someone's going.
Give me the under.
That's
that's the kind of okay parlay pick for that one. The under 1.5.
Oh yeah.
So that's
a fun one.
That's the fight to make, dude.
Yeah, and again, they're two top 5 guys are in that ballpark, right? I mean, obviously we know who's 1, 2. Colby's there. Is Combs out there? I don't know. I guess it all depends, but it's slim pickings.
We have a side segment here. Lee H brought up the fact that Luke Rockhold is fighting in BKFC. Bare knuckle fighting. He's fighting against Mike Platinum Perry. Mr.
Yes.
You thought you had a friend, boy.
Hold on.
Mister, did you see the script, Perry?
I think it's going to be 185. I think it's going to be 185. Luke Rockhold versus Mike Perry. Since I didn't have anything prepared for this, got to look this one up real quick.
That just doesn't seem fair for Mike
185. Perry. Doesn't really seem fair for Mike Perry. Luke Rockhold is probably going to
roundhouse kick him in the face. Yeah, not good.
In a boxing match, you love to see it. Dude, I'm super stoked. Yeah, 185. Thank you, Lee, for the confirmation. Real quick before we move into the next one, because we still have quite a few fights to cover here. How does that one go, guys? Do we all think Luke Rockhold?
Oh yeah. It'll be a fun one. I might actually tune into that card, but yeah, I think Luke will be very pretty about it. He'll kind of stay outside and then pepper him up, and Mike's gonna want to make it muddy, right? He's gonna want to get inside, say screw it, throw caution to the wind, try to get him on a good hook or whatever. But you got to think Luke's gonna want to keep it outside, stay pretty, hit him with a flying knee to the face or head kick to the face or uppercut to the face.
It's bare knuckle boxing. What are you talking about, bro?
Oh, it's only boxing.
He's so funny, except like spinning back kick and knee. It's like,
well, so then disregard that. But it'll be an uppercut to the face and a left hook to the face.
I actually think it's gonna be an uppercut to the face. An uppercut to the face. I think to the face. I think Mike leans in to throw a body hook and just
he's gonna want to stay inside, especially if it's just boxing. I mean, that's his only shot. Yeah, I mean that's split his nose in half, and that'll be good night.
Yeah, I gotta agree with both of you. I think Rockhold takes it at 185, but I mean, Mike Perry knocked out MVP, so I didn't expect that. So anything can happen.
It is bare knuckle. That is true.
I did have Perry winning that MVP fight. I knew he was going to win that.
And it's bare knuckle and Luke's chin. So bare knuckle, Luke's chin, no gloves.
That is, yeah.
Perry.
Well, that was Drew, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have him. Just kidding.
That's got to be a record. That's twice already.
That is nice. That was solid. We usually treat our guests better, but I don't know. He's got a special place in all his heart here.
Triggered. So yeah, I think we all think that Luke Rockhold, for the most part, is going to win this one. Oh shit! I have some in my eye. It's God punishing me for kicking you out of the freaking stream so many times. Carmageddon, baby. In the next one, we had one of the members of the Kinda Okay Parlay who got it done, Mr. Cody No Love Garbrandt, getting some love for at least like 8 out of 15 minutes of that fight. I don't know what he decided to do with that last 5 minutes, but man, did he pump the brakes. It was definitely a fun fight up until that end part. Yeah, I mean, That's all I got.
That's
on
not
that one,
much
to be
else to
completely
say.
honest. There's
Yeah.
not much else to say.
Yeah, that's a really good, thorough synopsis of the fight. Definitely pulled the shoot a little bit there down the stretch. Who knows why? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. You never know. You don't love to see that in terms of viewer standpoint. But hey, you got it done. You got the win, right? Maybe being a little more cautious, or maybe both of them feeling each other's power and nullifying each other out, I guess. But it was definitely more cautious.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, he did what he had to do to win. I mean, he got knocked out in 4 of his last 5 fights. I mean, he needed to win, and he did exactly that. I played it safe, but he got the win. And I think earlier today, he actually said that he had an injury that same morning. I believe he was going through his game plan and landed on his neck. And he said he couldn't feel I think it was the left shoulder. He couldn't feel anything on the left shoulder. I don't know if that played a part in it, but hey, I mean, he got it done. And can't wait to see what he does next.
Speaking of what he does next, yeah, he said something was wrong with his neck. Like I put in the chat, his neck, his back, his training camp was whack. I don't know. I'm kidding. He probably had a great training camp. He had Dewey Cooper in his corner, who's a really, really great kickboxing coach. That being said, Cody Garbrandt does not necessarily deserve a top 15 opponent, but I think he deserves the loser of a right on the edge of top 15 matchup. So I think he should get the loser of Jack Shore versus Makwan Amirkhani as his next opponent. I think either one of those guys would be a very fun matchup for him in the division. One, a young stud that's up and coming. One, a not so young stud that's not so up and coming. I think him and Makwan are actually about at the same leg of their career. They've both showed a lot of promise, had really stunning knockouts, and both had a pretty big falling from grace, but still seem to not be able to be counted completely out, So I think those two would match up really well against each other. I also think him and Jack Shore would match up really well against each other. Thoughts?
I just got giddy with that Amirkhani.
I think that's a good move, attaboy. Oh, and hey, Dana, if you're listening, Sean Shelby, get this man in that room. But seriously though, I mean, like you said, you have a good narrative to it. It makes sense. It's 2 recognizable names, 2 guys that have been in there, not that's in that top 15 yet, necessarily ascending. They kind of know where they're at. I don't know if these are guys that are necessarily going to go make a title shot this year or next, but hey, it's going to be a fun fight, someone that could fill up a card, give the viewers what they want. I'm all for it. Bring it on, baby. And I'm all for Cody Love staying in the winning column. Oh, just going to say, I'd love to see him continue to win. Yeah, he's talented as all hell, right? He has all the potential in the world. Let's see him go fight some other good legends in that weight class, or people that have kind of earned that right to, fill out a prelim or main card or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Drew?
Yeah, I think he needs one more fight for sure. And if he looks good against someone like a Makwan Amirkhani, I think he can actually get back to where he was, that championship fights. And he was just, I mean, we saw what he did to Dominic Cruz. That was a masterclass. And as much as that hurt me, that was Cody's that was his moment. And I think he can get back to that with this new coaching. And just, like I said, he puts a W on Amirkhani. That'll put him back up there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if he can get a win over Makwan Amirkhani, or vice versa, if Makwan Amirkhani gets a fascinating, big shocking win, or a statement win for that matter, over somebody like a Cody Garbrandt, that's money in the bank. Gets a crazy flying knee knockout over a Cody Garbrandt. Now we're talking about him being possibly a top 10, top 5 competitor again. And with the right training camp, Mr. Finland could get it done, dude. I like that guy a lot. I think he's a really, really credible fighter. So yeah, that's the one I'd rather see. But if Makwan goes out there and beats Jack Shore, again, he's already in that top 10 decision or conversation again. And then now you have Jack Shore having to prove himself against the Cody Garbrandt. A very game Cody Garbrandt, probably. The next one to talk about here is the phenom, the standout. Mr. had one fight before he went to Dana White's Contender Series, and then he won that fight, and then he made her fight one more fight, and now he's 4-0 in mixed martial arts, and talks to beat Israel Adesanya in the next year. We got Bo Nickel, guys. Bo Nickel went out there. He kneed his opponent in the nuts, got the takedown, and got the win. That's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about who he should fight next, and whether or not it should be a top 15 opponent. I think moving him up to a top 15 opponent this quick could prove to be very, very bad for a potential rising star in the UFC. But before I even put you guys in the hot seat, I'm going to go first on this one, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I think he fights the loser of Chris Curtis versus Calvin Gastelum.
Oof. So they still catapult them up there, right? Feels like where it's going, right?
Kelvin is number 15. So if he loses that fight, he's right outside the top 15. And then Bo is right on the teeter of possibly getting inside of the top 15. Keith Peterson smells like cigarettes and alcohol. You can ask Dominic Cruz. And bad decisions. It's true. Fighter, are you ready? Fighter, are you ready? So, yeah, Keith Peterson is definitely not my favorite ref in the world. Neither is Chris Taglioni. But that's another talk for another episode. So, again, Calvin Gastelum's number 15. Chris Curtis is like number 13-ish, I think. So loser of that fight is going to get moved out of the top 15. I think that's a good fight for Bo Nickel. Because, again, I don't think he deserves a top 15, but I do think he deserves someone that's like 16 to 20.
Well, I can definitely agree with that. And I think I can do you one better on his next opponent. I would like to see him fight Gerald Meerschaert. I think that would be a great test for him. And I think that would be the one. That's a name. And I can definitely see him winning that fight.
GM3, that is interesting. He's a fun, unfortunately, guy that tends to get put up against these really dominant, hyped up wrestlers. I don't know if he'll see deja vu and want to do that again, because you saw with Gamzat, that really did not end well for him. But yeah, Bo Nickel, extremely dominant performance. Maybe people are disappointed he didn't finish in under 1 minute. But, I mean, there were literally 4 total strikes. His opponent landed 1. And we're talking about grown men that, like, live their life fighting, that have no reason to let him walk through them like the way he did. And he absolutely earns all the hype he's getting. So people need to remember that. Even though we haven't seen him tested yet. I mean, again, let's give him credit where it's due. I don't know. What about like a Edmund Shabazian, or our boy Brandon Allen just fought? You know, somebody that's young as well, but kind of up and coming, or the winner can kind of take that next trampoline jump up into maybe the top 15. Those are some names that I'm looking at that seem fun. What do you guys think? What do you think, Owen?
I mean, I'm not against any names for Bo Nickel right now. Fucking A, dude. GM3, though. Like, dude, do you remember how it went whenever they tried to feed GM3 to somebody last time we saw him? We saw him live in San Diego. And he put the hurting on someone. You don't remember that? You forgot. You must have forgot.
True.
Ooh, I got short-term memory, man.
Oh my God! It was over. What was his name? Oh, dude. Why am I drawing a blank? Bruno Silva, right?
Mirror chart. This was a couple years ago, right?
No. This was last year. The fuck?
Oh.
Bruno Silva, bro. It's his last fight, August 13th, 2022. We went there. We were there. We were sitting cage side. We were shaking hands with people. I literally got to like.
This is the thing.
Slap hands with Dana White.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Better than getting slap faced by Dana White, am I right? Poor taste. So yeah, he beat him with a submission. He guillotined him in the 3rd round after pretty much like winning the rest of the fight too. So Bruno, bro, he beat Bruno. Good old Bruno Silva.
So if he's coming off a win, that makes sense then, right?
It does. It does make a lot of sense. Shit, I don't like it though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it for him.
I don't love it. I'll tell you that. He's not ranked? Are we sure he's not ranked, guys?
GM3 now. He's definitely outside.
He's not. No.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah. All right. So I'm cool with that. GM3 or the loser of Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. I'd like to see GM3 get some respect since he's off. He just got a win over Bruno Silva, but I mean, fuck him, right? Screw it. Let him fight Cannoneer. Let him fight a Dagestani. I don't hate either of these options, Lee. Let him fight a Dagestani. Let's see what American wrestling does to Dagestani wrestling. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a very fun little mix up there. We call that a Catalina wine mixer, ladies and gentlemen. So
mixing, maybe.
We got 4 more fights to go through here. The next one's a big one here. Mateos Gamrot looked real good in that fight. He was willing to take chances against a very, very scary Jalen the Tarantula Turner. Again, got it done. Got the decision. I'm going to go with one of my famous he should fight the loser of X, Y, and Z fight picks. He should fight the loser of Rafael Fazia versus Justin Gaethje. Because everybody is pretty much booked up in lightweight. And he doesn't...
Except...
He should not fight Dustin Poirier.
Except...
Oh. Fuck out of here.
So, not to butt in there, but he is...
I hate that. I hate that. I hate you.
The lightweight division is a bunch of killers, and everyone has a fight except for
that's his training partner.
Hey. Everyone else.
They train together? Oh, that's tough. Yeah, they probably won't sign it. Well, I know, but who else is there? He's 7.
Both train at ATT.
Yeah. That's where it's tough, man. When you get to the top there, he's number 7. He beat number 10 in Jalen Turner. And I will say in that fight, Gamrot was definitely cautious in the beginning. One might say scared, but cautious. And then when he did get peppered, he was on skates a little bit there.
He started throwing at that second and third, dude. And the second and third round,
he started
getting motivating for him.
I've never seen someone jump for a takedown from like the fence to the middle of the octagon. I'm like, just to myself, I was like, dude, he just like sprawled like 2 feet to go jump and get a leg. I'm like, because I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. This dude's the tarantula, got to get in somehow. But I was like, hey, he's having a hard time with this guy in Jalen Turner, who's a stud. And won it in one card, right? That was the decision. It was like 30-27, 28-27, and then like... or
29-28 and 29-27.
So the last guy had it, he didn't win one at all. Like, and the one was split, one was Gamrot.
One was Turner, and then the other two, the 30-27 and the 29-28 were Gamrot.
But
one of the guys had it like 2 rounds for Turner. Didn't make any sense. It also didn't make any sense that Turner, when he was like over the grappling exchange or the clinch exchange, he looked at the ref and was like, hey, you gonna stop this? And the ref's like, yeah, I guess I'll stop this.
That's boring.
What the fuck was that?
That's boring.
He didn't give him a warning or say, hey, you gotta work. And he shouldn't have given him a warning and told him to work, because Gamrot was landing body shots that entire sequence. He was literally like peppering him up. There was not more than a 3 or 4 second gap without damaging shots landing. So, like, I think Joe mentioned it like 4 times throughout the card. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like
he's
that.
like, he earned the right to get there. Don't just stand him up now. Like, that's hard to get. Make him get himself up. Don't just grant him because you're bored or because it's not favorable. That was a little frustrating.
And it happened in a couple fights.
I got a point on that, actually. I think that was cumulative in that fight, because in the first and second round, actually, Gamrot, he did have takedowns and control. But in the first round, when he had control, he threw 1 significant strike. I mean, 2 minutes of control is nice, but you throw 1 strike, and does that negate getting rocked earlier in the round?
That's the thing. How do you weigh that? Yeah.
First round was close. Second round a little bit better, but he had a little more ground and pound second round, but still keep things moving, you know?
So I agree and disagree. So keep things moving, but if I get you in a clinch and a dominant position and you can't get out, that's your problem, not mine. That's the same exact situation as if you punch me in the jaw and you get me on wobbled feet, especially if that happens and I can't get out of that situation, you're going to hit me again and I lose the fight. So if you get me on wobbled feet with your big overhand and then I'm still able to get a controlling position over you, fuck you, bro. I did that. Get out of it.
Oh, for sure.
That's my take on it, because like he worked for those positions, and even when Jalen would land those big hard shots, if you put me on skates and then I still get a takedown or a tie clinch on you against the cage, bro, you got work to do. Go back to the lab. Like, again, that's on you. And the ref should interfere at a very minimal amount, in my opinion. Only if they've been like doing nothing for like 30 to 45 seconds, that's when you should stand them up. Like the old Hoist Gracie fights would go literally until there was a finish or 30 minutes. And there was fights where like he would just lay on people in full mount for like fucking 20 minutes and not do anything, but make them smell his stinky ass armpits because he wouldn't shower for a week before. Like
he would probably get booed in today's MMA. He would get
1,000%. They would call him a crotch sniffer. They would call him like the like worst version of a Dagestani fighter. But
sure.
I mean, that like the fight game has evolved, but at the same time, you have to evolve with it. So I agree with I like your devil's advocate point. So I can see the point, but to an extent, if like whether you wobble me or not, if I get you on in a clinch, if I'm hitting you when I'm in that clinch, even if it's one hit every 10 seconds, I'm hitting you. Stop me from doing that. Like get a 2-on-1 baseball grip on my wrist to where I can't hit you. Negate the position. Stop me for 30 seconds and then have the ref be like, all right, they're in a negated position. Get out of this. But I don't know. That's my take on that kind of like back and forth thing. I saw a lot of like debating that on Twitter, and I just wanted to make sure we touch base on that. I do like your point a lot though, Drew. Like you're right. Like keep it moving. Keep action going. And I agree with that. Like, but in this specific fight, I thought he was keeping the action going.
Well, I mean, and going back to what you said, I think Turner actually, he earned that too, because he did get out of some of those takedowns. He crawled all the way to the fence, got up a couple times, and then when he was in the clinch against the fence, I think that's more the moments where I was kind of saying like, well, if they're clinched against the fence for 20, 30 seconds and Gamrot's not advancing, obviously Turner's not getting out of it, I get that, but nothing's happening there. Of course, he has him in the dominant clinch, but what's happening? Nothing's really happening there. So, and he did get up from those takedowns, like I said. So I think I do hate that the referee had to intervene. I get that. Let the fighters fight, but I'm not mad at it.
It's just doing its job.
Yeah.
We still got the same result, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
And honestly, Lee makes a good point here. Maybe Hooker's the next dance partner. I mean, he was supposed to be in there, so why not?
That's bad. That's bad news bears for Dan Hooker, man.
I know. I like Dan too much.
He already lost to Arman Sarukian, who lost to Mateus Gamera, right?
Do that MMA math.
It's oh man, yeah, I don't like that fight for Dan Hooker, but Lee might be onto something there. If that's next, I can't say I won't watch it, but I won't like it for Dan Hooker as a Dan Hooker fan. I think this next guy is the man of the night, if I'm being completely honest. Shavkat Rakhmonov, 17 fights, 17 finishes. He got it done via submission, standing rear naked choke, round 3, 4 minutes and 17 seconds into round 3, the final round. It's almost like he was peppering him up, and at one point he was like, you know what? If you're not going to go down from these shots, I'm going to choke you out. And if I can't take you down and choke you, I'm going to fucking do it while you're standing up, because I need to keep these perfect finish like ratio of mine. It was incredible. And that's why I think he should kill Colby Covington next.
Ooh, you did call him out. You did call him out. Boys, drop the mic. No, I agree, man. Shavkat. I mean, again, we picked on that fight, and it's funny when we talked about it. I was gonna take Shavkat money line, but I was like, I don't know. That feels like, I mean, not great odds. Like, let's see if we can maybe squeeze something else out. Should have went with the gut because I felt like he was gonna win. And again, he weathered the storm. Jeff Neal came out swinging and banging. Yeah, Shavkat's a beast. Let's be honest. I mean, he looked really good. He looked, and Joe made a good point at one point during the fight. He was saying, "Oh, he looks like he's just sparring. Like he has that kind of nonchalant kind of demeanor to him, which I think is so cool.
Calm. His
just
calm demeanor is terrifying.
Dude, he fought without a mouthpiece for like half a round. I'm like, dude, is it no one going to pick up that mouthpiece? He just doesn't even care. No mouthpiece for like a full round.
As soon as Herb leaned over to pick it up, I looked at Mare and I was like, He's not even going to ask him to rinse it off. He's just going to put it right back.
He's
in.
about right back in.
Herb stepped on that thing like 3 times. He's all, I don't give a fuck. I'm beating a grown man's ass.
Right back at it. And yeah, I mean, again, he looked good. He looked hittable. Jeff Neal was sharp. I mean, he hit him a couple times where I thought, oh boy, he is going to get knocked out right now. And then I'm thinking, here goes my parlay. But he just stood right in there like, nope, that's, nothing. Just a little bit of chin music, don't hurt nobody, I'm Kazuki-san, ain't nothing to me. But man, he weathered the storm.
I got to ask you. So you said he looked hittable. How much of it do you think it was him being very hittable, or Jeff Neal just having, some of the better boxing in the division?
I mean, he's definitely one of the cleaner boxers in the division at that level. Like in terms of just clean boxingness, like yeah, he's up there, and he's heavy-handed. I mean that punch. Delivered by other people, man. Yeah, delivered by hands of steel. I mean, it's gonna put you on your rocker, and it did seem to stun him a little bit, but he wore it really well, honestly. All considered.
Now, the main reason that I'm asking this is because I had a runner-up on my Colby Covington name, and I want to know if you think that he's very hittable and that he'd get hit by a Colby Covington or this other fighter B that I'm going to name. I should call him Fighter X. Basically, I think that I'm just going to come out and say it. Khamzat Chimaev versus Shavkat Rakhmonov is also the fight to make here, guys. Do you think that Khamzat has the best striking or the striking that would be needed to dismantle Shavkat? Because I think Shavkat is leaps and bounds ahead of Khamzat. And I also think that grappling-wise, they're either at about the same level or maybe Shavkat is just a little bit edged up. Curious to hear what you guys think on that. Drew?
I think Rakhmonov has the advantage both ways. I'm not entirely set on Khamzat striking quite yet. I mean, we saw Rakhmonov can take a punch. I mean, like you said, he's hands of steel, Neil. He's hands of steel for a reason, and he was hitting Shavkat with all those shots, and he just kept moving forward. And like you said, the grappling's about even. So if Rakhmonov and Khamzat fight, I think Rakhmonov has a good chance of winning that. Very good chance of winning that.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel, and maybe the more I think about it, maybe saying that he was, more hittable may not be the best way to put it. He left some openings. He was more so willing to give and get. Like, he was willing to go and create the exchanges, create some chaos, even if it meant taking a counter hook or a counter straight or whatever it was. So maybe that's more so what it was. Maybe he's obviously that confident in his chin, his abilities to mix it up, but it just felt like he was definitely willing to stay in there a little bit longer. Actually, he was kind of dancing in and out of range, but when he was throwing and putting together combinations, he kind of, I felt like, told him, like, made the mental note, okay, I'm gonna eat a punch or two, but I'm gonna give 3 to 5, and that overtime's gonna, MMA math gonna compound to a dub. And that choke was really nasty at the end. I just want to say that was really fun. I don't know what to call that choke. I was like, is that like a gentleman's wrestle your little brother, like, oh, come here, you little devil, and choke him out? I'm like, I don't know what to call that choke, but that was really sweet. And then, yeah, ultimately, to address Khamzat, I think I disagree, Drew. I think Khamzat, I feel like he's strong. I think that's his strength, his advantage here is his strength, maybe in the grappling, getting him down. Shavkat looked not as strong. Arm triangle choke, but standing up, I guess, huh? So it looked cool. I was like, I don't know what you call that. It's like a big brother move or something that you do when you're a little bro trying to
sorry. I don't know why I was thinking about the Bo Nickel choke. My bad. It was just a standing. I think it was a rear naked choke, right? Yeah, standing rear naked choke. Yeah,
you kind of got behind him, or was like kind of to his side, got behind, stepped the foot over, and just choked him out. But yeah, looked cool.
Big brother.
Big brothered him a little bit there. But yeah, honestly, I think Khamzat is the stronger fighter. Shavkat's better on the feet. but he wasn't, putting Jeff Neal away. So if it turns into a 15 or 25-minute match, I mean, it can go either way. I'm almost leaning Khamzat based off what I've seen in Khamzat weather some heavy storm fights. The names I was thinking of, if not Khamzat, Kobe obviously as well, or Colby would be a fun one. Stylistically would be a matchmaker heaven. Another one stylistically coming off a win would be our boy Steven Wonderboy Thompson. He might want to get in there and mix it up, some Kazakhstan, some wolf skin wearing fighters out there. I don't know. I mean, that'd be another fun one I was thinking about. But again, I think Khamzat's a little too strong for Shavkat. Shavkat looked good. He looked great, actually, but looked a little hittable, looked a little bit weaker in some of those like grappling, or if it went to the ground. Yeah, I think Khamzat has the edge, in my opinion.
Ooh.
I'm saying it here. I'm saying it now.
Glad you mentioned that, because I can confirm that Rachmanov did call out Wonderboy Thompson on Twitter last night, and I would love to see that fight. That's my pick for his next one. Rachmanov versus Wonderboy. I would love to see that fight.
I'm not mad at that.
That's the fight to make.
I'm not mad at that. I will say this right here, right now on the podcast. You can clip it, you can keep it, and you can keep the receipts for later. No, I got a hard $50 and a double shot of whiskey on Shavkat Rakhmonov if and when he ever fights Khamzat Chimaev.
That he beats him? Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks good everywhere, man.
Brother.
Yeah.
I think Shavkat, I think you're underestimating Jeff Neal's boxing abilities, and you're overestimating the hitability of Shavkat Rakhmonov. I thought he looked pretty good in there, and I don't know.
Because his ability to get in and out of range was really good. I think Daniel mentioned
really
it, where
special,
he's there and then he's right back out. And snapping you right back out. And he
also would step off the line. He cuts an angle better than most middleweights. Like, just in general, at that division, I think welterweights, he cuts such a good angle. And it's scary, dude. He's scary good. Considering he's more of like a grappler type fighter, I truly feel like the ability to cut angles, throw kicks, throw punches, those body shots he was throwing were absolutely disgusting.
They're drilling him, digging in.
And the way that he's able to adapt when someone steps in on him with forward momentum and land a knee to the body or to the solar plexus specifically, I think that would come in handy for that Wonderboy fight. And I think that would dismantle a Khamzat. And I also think that his ability, the quick twitch motions that he has in his hips, he'll just shook off somebody like Khamzat who's running in and rushing in with those takedowns, I think. Stylistically, I think Shavkat takes that fight like 7 out of 10 times if those guys fight. I do see paths to victory for Khamzat. I just think they're fewer and far between. That being said, jumping right into the co-main event of the evening,
hell yeah.
we had the biggest upset of the night, boys. We had Valentina Shevchenko going in and not doing her little dancey dance against Alexa Grasso. Man, me and you, Drew.
No spinning shit.
Dude, me and you have actually been fans of Grasso for quite some time, though, Drew. So it was good to see the girl get it done. I didn't know that she'd get it done round 4 minutes 34 seconds in with a submission. It was nice, and it wasn't even a rear naked choke. It was more of a grip, just a hold. She squeezed the hell out of her jawline. I don't know if you guys have seen that picture of her face being completely red and the white line. Just disturbing.
I mean, she even like the video after her hands kind of go up. I mean, she was half a second, milliseconds away, nanoseconds away from being out. It was that close.
She was either gonna I don't know if there was a choke actually in, or if it was just on the lining of her jaw and about to pop her jaw out. Either way, she looked like she was in extreme levels of discomfort.
I mean, she tapped, and then it took it a couple extra seconds for who I don't remember who was in there reffing, but for them to separate it and for her to let go. But there was an extra second or two, so she probably waited for her last second, and that extra half second was like, oh, the lights are going out right now.
And as a fighter, when you're in that situation, and you've drilled that, and you've thought about this, and you've dreamed about this. You're squeezing as tight as you possibly can. That first tap that you feel it's almost like, is she tapping? Is the ref gonna see? So you squeeze tighter because you've got it.
So you want to make sure, like, is that real?
Yeah, like Valentina was like slowly, and then as soon as it connected, she's like, she's like, shit, she's gonna kill me.
And then it was like, oh, and then but Alexa still was like, are you sure? Are we? And then like looked up like, are we good? Okay, I'm good, dude. But that split second, I mean, yeah, that was that close. Great fight.
It was nasty. It was nasty. So the big question here is, does Shevchenko get the immediate rematch, or do we do Alexa Grasso versus Erin Blanchfield?
All right, Sean Shelby here. I got something for you, Sean Shelby. You got to make the all-Mexico card. We got to go to Mexico. You make an all-Mexican card with those champs, and that would be a banger of a pay-per-view. I think you put the rematch, Shevchenko versus Grasso. You put Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski. And you put, who's the other fight I'm missing? Oh, Brandon Moreno versus Figueiredo. What, fight 10 now, Brett? Hell, do it again. Why not?
Not Moreno versus Figueiredo. Moreno versus Alexandra Pantoja. The guy that got him cut from the UFC, who's been waiting very patiently. I'm going to say two things. I agree with you, and I disagree with you. I agree with you on all of your fight picks. I disagree with you on the placement. Sean Shelby, please listen to this part especially. We want that for International Fight Week. I think it'd be fantastic. Can we get that July 8th, please? I think all those fighters' trajectories would line up perfectly for that. Give us Yair, fighting the man, the myth, the legend, Alexander the Great. And you know what? Just for fun, why don't we go ahead and throw Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev on there too? Let's just have like all the title fights.
That'd be sick.
Just have all the title fights.
That'd be sick. If that ends up happening, and then I'll buy tickets to the UFC fight and just, we'll see you guys there.
Yes.
But that would be fun as all hell, honestly. I guess, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. And I guess Dana was talking about the Mexico, what are they building out there? I'm blanking on the name. The
UFC Performance Institute.
The PI, thank you. Performance Institute. He's been talking about that for years, and he's saying in the post-fight press conference yesterday, hey, we're finally itching closer. No better timing than now. We have 3 champions, all for Mexico. So maybe once the PI gets released, maybe later this year or next, maybe they'll eventually do one. But I don't know if they really have a set venue or where to do it in Mexico. Maybe Mexico City, obviously. I mean, they do a lot of sports there, kind of the mecca in terms of stadiums and places that could hold a UFC event, and in terms of travel and everything else. But yeah, maybe it's too soon to talk Mexico cards, unfortunately. But do want to shout out my Mexican champs. Si se puede. We did it. We're here. We have arrived, and we are coming to take over. I mean, just participating.
We're not just taking over. We're taking over. Si se puede.
So close.
Si se puede. You can do it. I learned that from a Disney movie.
Mucho gusto.
So we have one more fight to get through real quick. So let's jump right into it, boys. We got the main event of the evening. We got the return of the real man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Bones Jones, a look-see-do fighter. I always love that he gets introduced as that. Before the Rashad Evans rivalry, which is, in my opinion, one of the best and biggest rivalries in mixed martial arts history, I was a big John Bones Jones fan. So to Drew's surprise, I'm gonna go ahead and say he looked perfect in there. He looked like the GOAT, the greatest of all time, without any debate whatsoever. It's hard to say he's not. He took 3 years off, comes up to a different division, and made it look absolutely masterful in dismantling someone that has had a pretty masterful run himself in Cyril Gana. I mean, I think if he is able to go on and fight Stipe Miocic and beat him, he is definitely the greatest of all time. There's no doubt about it.
There's a good chance you guys get that International Fight Week. I'm pretty sure they're talking about it.
That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah.
So, you're welcome.
Maybe that, and then Yuri Prokaska versus Jamal Hill as the co-main event. A little light, heavy, and heavy action. Yeah.
Ooh. Keep it big. The mid boys swanging and banging.
There you go, Eric. Let's go.
There you go. Keep that up forever. Keep that as the banner.
Oh
Does it pain you to say that a little bit, Olin?
Oh, absolutely. I hate saying things like that because I mean, like, the guy's just a for sure cheater, and I'm not a big fan of cheaters. He's tested positive numerous times for things. Okay.
It's legal now, I believe.
One
But
of
it
them
doesn't
was
matter.
the
It wasn't
Picto one, I
legal
think.
then. It
I
doesn't
know.
matter.
He did say that's
the
fair.
other-
That's
the
fair.
other
That's
two
fair.
one was coke and one was dick pills. Does that really count? I mean, come on.
Come on, bro.
And then even the DV stuff, which I was like, okay, and it was alleged or no assault, no charges were filed or nothing. You know, it's checkered. I can't buy the Culture King shirt that I see that I really want. So I'm a fan, but I can't fully be a fan. I'm like a closet fan, unfortunately.
You heard it here first,
I'll
ladies
just tell
and
y'all.
gentlemen. Emiliano is in the closet, but only as a fan of John Jones.
I got some bones in there, and I'm talking
He's got
Johnny,
some-
baby.
He's got skeletons in his closet. So, I mean, again, John Jones is definitely he's right now.
It was
he's the
masterful, though. He
He's
made
the
it.
best
I mean,
of all
he,
time.
yeah. Oh.
He's the boat
Oh,
right now. If he beats
I'm hopping on
Stipe,
that
he'll
boat.
be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
It's undisputed. He beats Stipe. It's undisputed. He
Undisputed.
is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
all time.
There's no argument to make.
No
I
argument.
mean, does Stipe
I-
really stand a chance? That's probably the question.
Absolutely. John Jones has always struggled against boxers that have like good inside boxing and good clinch work. Stipe has two of those things. As far as heavyweights go, the best. So stylistically, he does have a chance. He's also 40 years old and started doing the whole firefighter thing full time now. So how often does he actually have to train? That's a pretty big thing.
At least, yeah, fighting wise, which maybe he has a lot of that still in him if he's not doing it as much now. But I think he gained like 15 or 20 pounds, or I heard something. He was walking
big.
around a little bit lower. He looked good. What did they do? The like panel of all the heavyweight
Yeah.
Hall of Famers. That was a fun build up. If you guys haven't checked that out, go
looks
check it.
jacked,
But
dude.
he looked big. He looked solid.
Yeah.
Like he looked solid. So that helps. That's a big deal.
And I couldn't exactly make out what he said, but he looks pretty fired up, man. When the camera panned to him and he was in the crowd, he was also kind of sloshed.
Oh, he said "Bring it on, B word." That's all I can say.
That's what he said. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he said, "Bring it on, you little bitch."
Hey, bring it on, B word. Bring it on, you bitch. He's like very. I can just hear him saying,
little bitch,
"Bring it on, little bitch. Bring it on, you little bitch."
OH,
I-O.
I'm the champ.
I-O. Yeah, but he
so,
was
yeah.
definitely and he was just sitting down. I was kind of hoping he'd stand up, but he was just sitting there. Bring it on, bitch. Bring it, bitch. I was like, yeah, that's
So-
good.
I gotta disagree with you guys, man. I
Ooh.
think John Jones goes into International Fight Week and makes it look easy again against Stipe. I just, like you said, he's getting up there in age.
He's the go, man. Yeah,
Struggled-
he'll pick him apart.
struggled against DC. DC was actually probably winning both those fights, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I
Yeah.
said that. But I think
Yeah.
John Jones makes that fight look easy. I think he outstrikes Stipe everywhere. He can take him down if he wants to, but I just think he picks apart Stipe.
I think you might be right. I could see it happening, and I can tell you that if that does happen, two things are going to happen following that. One, you will hear me outright admit that John Jones is the greatest UFC fighter of all time, undisputed, unchecked. And two, you will ask me to never bring up the name John Jones in my fucking house again.
Check that out the door.
Those are two things that you can check the record, but those are gonna happen.
If you say that, then yes, deal.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, if I'm thinking about it, I think our boy Sergey Pavlovich gives Jones a much more tougher, more challenging puzzle to solve.
Absolutely.
I mean, that dude's a freaking.
So
animal.
I think that the two biggest names, like I think I put Stipe on my paper, right? Because that's who they have already announced. But if it were up to me, I mean, like obviously Stipe's next because timeline makes sense, etc. After that fight, I hope by then Tommy Aspinall has recovered, come back, destroyed somebody else, and then we either get Sergey Pavlovich versus Jones or Tommy Aspinall versus Jones. I think Tommy is the answer. But does John Jones wake up in the morning excited to train and fight a Tommy Aspinall? I don't know. I don't think so.
And coming off injury, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, we're talking about the GOAT here, right? If this, then that. Has he earned that right? Right? Even another guy that was on stage, Curtis Blades, another. You know, there's a few guys there. With Almeida, there's a few names that can all kind of be jumbled up in that same breadth of conversation, I feel like.
Absolutely. Like where they could present problems to him, but are they going to excite him to get out of bed in the morning and train for it? That's tough.
Someone has to stand out. Maybe there's a little gauntlet there. Maybe you match up some of them amongst each other to make that kind of next contender fight after. Because I mean, we all know Stipe, Jones later this year. So what about the end of this year? What about next year? What are the rest of these guys doing? Right? Maybe those are the directions we got to be looking now.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Well, that's all the fights. I know Drew has to run here in just a sec, so I don't want to make him late for anything. I appreciate him jumping on today. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all ages, if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications, and of course, make sure you drop a follow for This Is Drew. It is at This Is Drew on all platforms, I believe, on Instagram, on Twitter. If he has a YouTube 10 years from now, it'll probably be named that. And of course, make sure you drop a follow for the homie, the regular here, Jive Turkey Nano. Look at that. Look at that. It's over there. It's over that way. And then the other one's over that way. So his is at Jive Turkey Nano on Twitter. And it's not that on Instagram. He should probably make an Instagram for the Jive Turkey Nano.
I'll get it done.
And you know me, guys. I'm out here at MMAnomaly everywhere. So give me a follow. Make sure you tune in for the next episode where we'll be talking about the next UFC fight card, which is definitely going to be a good one. That next fight card is going to be Peter Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. One thing I will say right before we part ways with you guys is that if I had to compare the John Jones versus Cyril Gane fight to any other fight I've ever seen, I would say Mickey Gall versus CM Punk. Because it was just one-way traffic. The only difference is we didn't see it going that way. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we really appreciate you coming. Drew, I fucking love you. We'll see you guys next time.
See you soon.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go.